want you all to picture a little girl. She's being held by her mother, her sister, her aunt, and her grandmother. She's screaming at the top of her lungs to run away, but she can't, and she knows why. She knows that she can't get away because of what's going to happen next. As paralyzing as this situation is for her, there's a woman that's walking towards her with an empty blade, ready to cut her. Her name was Soraya Meyer, and at the age of 13, she was circumcised. Good morning, my name is Diana Bayless. I have extensively studied female circumcision in one of my classes, Women in Other Cultures, by a professor here at ASU. Women's circumcision has been a tradition in Somalia and many other countries for decades. It causes women to suffer for the rest of their life. And circumcision on women is not for their health benefit, as much people think it is. It is degrading, and it needs to stop. Today we stand up, starting with Arizona, against the practice of female circumcision, no longer justifying the causes that keep this practice alive and bring the solution to help women. By convincing, by proposition of law, that every state in the United States of America abolish female circumcision, we can accomplish this. Let's look at the problem. You all might have heard of the practice, here especially in America, with male circumcision. Though, with a show of hands, how many have you actually heard of a female being circumcised? Would you be shocked to hear that since 1997, 140 million girls and women have been circumcised? That's 9 million girls a year. This was according to a campaign against genital mutilation. To understand this complexity and the horror of this practice, you must understand that there are more than one surgery like there is for men. These 4 surgeries are called the clitorectomy, the excision, infibulation, and then one that is considered a non-medical purpose. While the first 2 of the circumcisions are most common, the last 2 are the most excruciating and most painful to undergo. Infibulation alone consists of sealing the vagina with or without removing the clitoris, and all that has remained is the actual size of the tip of a Q-tip, leaving the woman only to have women's menstrual cycle and her urination go through. This is very painful. The problem we people continue to practice leads to abuse, rape, and death. That excludes all the pain and suffering that they live through every day if they survive. Every year, 3 million girls younger than 10 years old are operated on. That's 6,000 a day, 250 an hour, and more than 15 every second. That's according to the Medical News Journal. There are many speculations in pinpointing the start of this horrendous tradition, but people say it started in 5th century BC in Egypt. Since this was practiced, many women suffered and died because of the complications that have arisen from being circumcised. Complications such as childbirth, infections, and death, of course. Now that we've established the problem of this problem, let's see what causes this tradition. There are few causes that explain why this is still practiced today, but one of the most known and the biggest reason is for women to be married. Men in this tradition feel that women aren't sanitary if they don't go through this process. On a survey analysis, 18 of you believed that there was nothing wrong with female circumcision. Though, did you know that no woman has ever asked to be circumcised unless for a medical reason? The majority of the women that are circumcised are forced into it. Many don't even think that a state would allow something as this to be legal, but in fact only 10 states in America have a legislation against it. Arizona not being one of them. People aren't aware that female circumcision is what it is, and even though it is not part of American culture, it doesn't give us an excuse to ignore it. Because of the lack of an awareness, our Senate has not taken any action whatsoever. Do not underestimate the severity of the situation. Many girls flee to America to get away from this, only to come to the States and in Arizona to see that it's still legal here. Majority of girls start from the age of 10 who undergo circumcision are mentally and physically damaged for the rest of their lives. If you could help a 12-year-old girl and save her from the pain, would you? Let's take the step together and find the solution. Even if female circumcision is not a topic discussed regularly, it is still important and needs to change. Even the smallest thing can help. Some measure we need to take is education. Not many people have heard of female circumcision, so awareness is very important. Not many people have heard of female circumcision, and they don't know that it does not prevent pregnancy or STDs. We can write letters to our representatives and our Senate and for our opinions to be heard. And most importantly, we could add Facebook programs. We could like Facebook profiles to get the awareness out and to show that it does exist. We can make this stop. We have to make this stop. In conclusion, I have discussed what the problem is, what the causes were for it, and some solutions that we can make together. By making this stop, our generation, present and future, won't have to suffer through such a crime. We have the power to make the change. The statistic of 9 million girls a year will be eliminated, and girls will no longer be forced into such an act. By abolishing female circumcision by law and under the jurisdiction of the United States, we are able to undo this wrong and create a better future. Thank you.